They have nothing in life. I say that with the utmost confidence. They have nothing in life. Scammy Claus too. She has nothing in life. But speaking of Scammy Claus, that brings us to our first story. It's called GoFundMe for Florida Cock. Hey, Mush. It started with a TikTok live titled, Scammy Claus is lonely, y'all. Need me a Florida man. She had her usual Christmas lights still up in October, red Solo cup in hand, and that fake I'm totally fine laugh echoing through the stream, like a raccoon rummaging through a trash can. Scammy Claus says, listen, my petty pounders aren't pounding like they used to. She slurred. And the North Pole's gone soft. Literally frostbite where I used to feel joy. The chat lit up. Girl, you need therapy, not a GoFundMe. Get that sunshine sausage. And tell Santa to bring you batteries. But she was serious. She flipped her hat backwards like a truck stop philosopher and announced, I'm starting a GoFundMe to bring me a real Florida man. I want that authentic humidity, baby. I want Florida cock. By the next morning, she'd filmed a TikTok with the caption, Day 1 of manifesting my Florida man. Link in bio. She wore an I Heart Tampa tank top, smeared glitter like war paint, and strutted out her front door yelling, I ain't scared of gators or failure. I'm scared of being dry. Then she cut to a slow-mo montage. Her waving mistletoe over a mugshot wall of veiled exes. Her scrolling through Tinder profiles, muttering, too sober, too sane, too many teeth. And finally, her holding up a sign, help me find my Florida man, or fund my fall from grace. This will be a video story, most likely, animal. I'm going to add to it, though. But so far, I think it's coming together pretty good. The GoFundMe went live under the name Operation Sunshine Thunderstick. The description read, Hi, my name is Scammy Claus. I'm 52 years young, spiritually dehydrated, and emotionally underserviced. My goal is to raise $2,500 to travel to Florida to find my soulmate, or at least someone with an airboat and minimal felonies, and restore my faith in humanity and hydration. Donations go towards travel expenses, Greyhound or bust, Pastor Blaster therapy sessions, matching Christmas lingerie, and legal fees if it gets spicy. Within hours, the comments rolled in. Is she serious? Another said, I'd pay $5 just to see the outcome. Another said, Florida cock sounds like hot sauce. When donations stalled at $37.42, she fired up another live. Her lashes were hanging by hope, and she was chewing ice like it owed her money. TikTok, y'all said y'all love me, but my GoFundMe looks like a church offering in a drought, she wailed. She took a dramatic sip of box wine and added, my petty pounders just ain't cutting it anymore. I'm tired of DIYing my happiness. Help me find my Florida man. The humidity heals. Someone in the chat typed, girl, your humidity can't fix desperation. She screamed, blocked, and threw her ring light like a discus. It's story time, just a. Hey, Corbett. The internet did what it does best, turned her pain into a meme. People started duetting her videos, pretending to be potential donors. Here's $1.27. Go buy a map of Florida and some self-respect. Others made parody GoFundMes. Buy Scammy Closet GPS so she stops getting lost in delusion was one. Another, fund Florida man's legal defense once she finds him. Meanwhile, her GoFundMe unexpectedly hit $1,200 thanks to the chaos. She took that as divine approval. Two days later, she posted another video. She was in an Uber with her suitcase, hair teased like static had vendetta. She said, we did it, y'all. I'm headed south to find that Florida cock and redemption. The driver looked terrified. Ma'am, are you really going to Florida just for... She cut him off. Mind your business. I'm on a mission from Santa. A week later, she was back on TikTok Live, broadcasting from a motel poolside in Daytona, hair frizzed, mascara melting, tan lines shaped like broken dreams. I found a Florida man, she sniffled, but he pawned my phone charger and stole my GoFundMe cash for gas station scratch-off tickets. The comments went feral. We told you. Another said, should have funded therapy, not thirst. Another said, well, at least was it good? Scammy Claus grinned faintly. Let's just say I understood the assignment. Hey, Eileen. Then she winked. Lit another Pall Mall and whispered, round two, y'all. GoFundMe reloaded. Return of the Florida cock. The end. There's another story too. It's a bit of a follow-up to that one. That was hard to do straight-faced. No thanks, AZ Queen. She is going to need receipts from every donor to find out where they got that money. Ooh, that one was tough to do. But I think it turned out pretty good. Honestly, I'm going to add to it. Let me check this word. Sometimes checking Discord's not the best idea, but it's the best idea at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. Y'all are fast. Y'all are fast. fast. Let me tell you. Now, the next story, um, it does have. She does want me. Um, that it is a woman. Hey Jen, how are you? No, don't be done. Don't be done. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna get into the second story, and the second story kind of is a continuation of her search for Florida cock, and it's called Scammy Claus and the Quest for the Petty Pulverizer. I should be cut off, Muffin. 100% of the way. Somebody needs to make a GoFundMe to come take my phones. So, this one is called Scammy Claus and the Quest for the Petty Pulverizer. The workshop of High Note Woodwork smelled like sawdust, stale piss, and broken dreams. Scammy Claus sat hunched over a busted belt sander, mumbling to herself. Her GoFundMe for Florida cock had crashed harder than sobriety on Christmas Eve. $28.63 remained in her PayPal. Not enough for Florida, but maybe enough for closure. She spun in her stool, staring at her shelf of mechanical trophies. Petty pounders, 1,000 through 9,000, each one a failed invention of self-love through percussion. Pastor blasters, a series of vibrating crosses that had once gotten her banned from the congregation. But none of them filled the void. None of them could match the legend she'd heard whispered in her childhood like a cursed carol. The Petty Pulverizer, forged from brass, blown by angels, and hidden by her father because she was not worthy. Her eyes widened. He hid it from me because he knew I'd outplay him. The next morning, she strapped on her Christmas Crocs, grabbed her Pall Malls, and declared, "If Daddy didn't think I could fill his shoes, I'll at least fill his." Oh my God! Okay, I'm sorry. That was fun. This is probably more ridiculous than the last one, and I'm going to lose my composure. Anyways, the next morning, she strapped on her Christmas Crocs, grabbed her Pall Malls, and declared, "If Daddy didn't think I could fill his shoes, I'll at least fill my void with his legacy." The neighbors stared as she revved up her mobility scooter and peeled out of the driveway like a feral elf on a mission. Her GPS whispered, recalculating again. She followed a series of cryptic clues, one carved into an old music stand, another hidden in a karaoke machine at a pawn shop. She followed a series of cryptic clues, one carved into an old music stand, another hidden in a karaoke machine at a pawn shop labeled Sin and Strings. Each clue led her deeper into the swamps of regret until she arrived at a small Pastor Petty's congregation. Inside, Pastor Petty sat cross-legged on a pew made of pallet wood, haloed by incense smoke and poor decisions. He greeted her like a prophet who'd seen too many TikToks. "Child," he croaked, "I guard the pulverizer. Your father entrusted it to me after the great band camp incident of '97. Do you think you're ready?" Scammy Claus slammed her Pall Malls on the altar. "I've built 9,000 petty pounders and 9,000 Pastor Blasters. My trauma is tuned to C major. I'm more than ready." Pastor Petty sighed, nodded, and pointed to his asshole. From its depths came the sound of clucking chickens and distant jazz. "Retrieve it," he said. "But beware, it's been deeply stored." She approached his asshole and saw it. The petty pulverizer. Half buried in mystery and shit. Gleaming faintly like a cursed clarinet. She wrapped her hands around it and pulled, but nothing. She braced her foot on one of his ass cheeks and again pulled. Still nothing. That's when she heard a cluck. From the shadows waddled Clucky, Pastor Petty's loyal chicken. Feathers fluffed like a motivational clucker. Clucky pecked her shin encouragingly, and then began clucking to a rhythm. Scammy Claus found herself chanting along. One time at band camp, one time at band camp. With a final heroic tug, she yanked the artifact free. It came loose with a sound that could only be described as spiritual relief. She stumbled back triumphant, holding it aloft. It was not a sword, not a relic. It was a shit-covered flute, engraved with the words, "Toot ye not in vain." The heavens did not open, but the Wi-Fi reconnected for the first time all day. So I took a very small intermission because I lost my shit there for a second. Looking at this picture and at the moment, it's incredible. It's a shit-covered flute, Breezy. But to continue, back at High Note Woodwork, she mounted the pulverizer above her workbench, polished it with KY jelly, and smiled through the chaos. "Daddy," she whispered to the heavens, or at least the ceiling insulation, "I did it. I found your legacy, and this time I can hit every note." She lifted the flute, inhaled deeply, shoved it in her ass, and began to play a wobbly rendition of Careless Whisper. The neighbors heard it echo through the woods, haunting, off-key, and undeniably triumphant. Somewhere, Pastor Petty clutched Clucky to his chest and wept with pride. And that night, Scammy Claus updated her TikTok bio to read, "Professional woodworker, amateur flutist. Still not worthy." The end. Yes, trouble, yes. So touching. So touching. I can imagine this isn't going to go over too well with certain people. Certain people are probably going to be like, "What the fuck is wrong with them?" But that's okay. They got to know that all of you are also asking the same thing. What the fuck is wrong with me? Harley Tank to ask for receipts, and if you got kicked from the club, they call, what receipts do you want, Harley Tank? Thank you, Breezy. Hallmark may make a movie based on this story. I might put all of my short stories in a book and sell it on Amazon. Well, I'll tell you who's not full of shit anymore, and that's Petty. Because Scamming Claus pulled the shit covered flute out. To see people's info that you don't know. Right, me either. But, I mean, one second. I can, yes, GoFundMe for Florida Man's book launch. I can show you some receipts. Remember how Smashley said, I don't share personal information. I don't have any in my phone. Well, Punk, she says only 34 people ain't nothing either, and that hundreds and hundreds of people are much better than 34. I beg to differ. I think 34 people is just fine. But out of respect for Harley Tank, I'll show redacted things. Like this one right here, that clearly shows Smashley in Discord sending in personal information of Rissa and many other people, actually. There's so many. I have the whole Discord. Weird. Weird. Her defense is going to be, I was asked for it. And my response is going to be, response is going to be no, you aren't. Smashly, you weren't asked for it. I have the whole Discord. Look at them dates. You've been dirty as fuck forever. Look at all the messages, private messages that you be sending Discord. Everything that gets sent to you, you put in that Discord. It's okay. Back to Scammy Claus. Since people like to lie. Right, Bougie? It's quite a lot of personal information somebody sent to a Discord. That's just one Discord. That's not the other one. And that's not the other one. And that's not the other one. Oh, recap. That was the first major thing. The stories were incredible, honestly. There was a story about Scammy Claus's GoFundMe to find Florida Cock, and then her request for the petty pulverizer. Yep, she outed her messages with Mexican Homie and Mrs. Homie in that Discord too. Right? I mean, look, you can only attack people that aren't in this situation because you've been wanting to attack them forever anyways, so I'm just the excuse to use for so long before all of your shit comes out and all of your bad behavior comes out. I'm not going to antagonize Smashly publicly. But I'm going to love it when she never gets on this app again. Correct, Mallory. She plays the field. She can't be trusted. She's probably in another Discord now, outing all of her messages with all the people. Okay, Lee. Why is that? Because I'm letting Jen speak. And Scammy Claus is pressed about it. So pressed about it, if I let people speak, I'll let her purchase the Florida Cock. Is that what she's doing the GoFundMe for? Womp womp is correct. You muted them because you want another story time. I other behavior. Hey, Mima, how are you? All right, let's get some story topics. Throw out ideas. It's going to be a community story. I'm going to type it into ChatGPT and we'll read out what it says. Who's the story about? We'll start there. All right, we got the people. We got Animal Motion Trouble. They go on an adventure. Hey, Becky. So they go on an adventure to what I see Rem said, to hear what they have to say about Dora. They go to the beach, the mountains. Where else do they go? Sturgis. And to the casino. We're getting it together. That's fine, Rem. Okay, we have it. It's called Dora, You Lying Fiend, an adventure of animal, mush, and trouble. Animal, mush, and trouble were three friends of uncertain origin and absolutely certain mental instability. They weren't so much friends by choice as they were mutual recognition that no one else could keep up with their antics. Hey, Christina. Animal was a wiry mess of muscle, mustache, and a thick coat of fur, despite having shaved 3 hours earlier. OG is coming. Okay. When OG gets here, I'll restart it. Okay, you hear OG? We're doing a story time. This one was like from the chat. So it's called This Is My Life. This one's called Dora, You Lying Fiend. An adventure of animal, mush, and trouble. Yeah, this is by 20-second backup. Animal, Mush, and Trouble were three friends of uncertain origin and absolutely certain mental instability. They weren't so much friends by choice as they were mutual recognition that no one else could keep up with their antics. Animal was a wiry mess of muscle, mustache, and a thick coat of fur, despite having shaved 3 hours earlier. He talked like a bootlegger and smelled like expired milk. Mush was a paranoid philosopher who'd once eaten an entire magic 8-ball to find the truth. He wore a tinfoil hat and Crocs with no socks. He hated lies deeply, which is why I'm telling you right now, Mush seethed, gripping